Yesterday, Abahlali Basemjondolo met with human settlements and KZN ministers and other provincial leaders to discuss a memorandum of demands presented to the departments in April this year. The group embarked on a march for Freedom Day, calling the day unfree for those excluded from public services. And the memorandum demanded, among other things, land, decent housing, and the upgrading of informal settlements. And we speak now to Abahlali Basemjondolo leader, Zikode, about how the meeting went. Sbu, good morning. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika.
A very good morning to you, Mr. Chaba, and to all your viewers at home. And thank you for having us.
Thanks for your time. Before we get into it, can you first remind us about your march in April, the events leading up to that? What was that about?
Well, the march took place on the 25th of April this year, and I must say the rain was heavily pouring, and I just want to commend Abahlali for braving that rain and got out into their numbers to submit their memorandum of demand to the Minister of KZN, Mr. Hlabisa, and we want to appreciate that Mr. Hlabisa as well braved the rain and came to receive Abahlali's memorandum, and we felt very humbled and respected by his courage, given that for the first time in our history as Abahlali, we have never had such a high-profile government official not delegating anyone but coming himself to engage with Abahlali, and we must say that he has kept his promise. The announcement and his remarks when he was receiving the memorandum has been fulfilled yesterday. And I must say that amongst other things that we demanded at the time was a stop to massive evictions that are terrorizing our communities. Many of Abahlali members in our urban centers are facing vicious and arbitrary evictions from local municipalities. And of course, we were calling for land and decent housing for all shack dwellers in South Africa.
Tell me more about the contents of that memorandum. And you mentioned that some of them were fulfilled yesterday. Please expand on that.
Well, the Abahlali, for a very long time, it is now 20 years. Each time we marched to eThekwini, for instance, they would always squash our memorandum and throw it in the bin. So that is why we appreciate that the minister has respected Abahlali and kept his promise on the day in which he received the memorandum. So the content of the memorandum was obviously the lack of provision of basic services in all the informal settlements. There's hardly any access to basic services such as water and sanitation. There is hardly any road access, no refuse collection. So the life in the informal settlement is life-threatening. That's what one of the reports of the United Nations suggested, that life in the informal settlement is life-threatening. So we were calling for the Department of Human Settlement to provide decent housing for all the shack dwellers, but also those who were victims of floods back from 2022. They remain in their shelters and are also facing evictions as we speak. And many of the informal settlements are really facing massive evictions. For instance, what is happening in Guaduguza, where the Guaduguza municipality has collided with the Dolphin Ratepayers and Ratepayers Association in taking Abahlali into court. So we were saying there is no need for us to go to court when you have leaders. And when you go to court, it shows the failure and the weakness of the leadership of the time. So we were calling for a proper and meaningful engagement with the cooperative governance, the Department of Human Settlement, as well as the municipalities around 4 provinces, at least in KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, Gauteng, and the Eastern Cape. They are mostly affected by the suffering of Abahlali Basemjondolo.
And Sbu, do you and the members of Abahlali Basemjondolo vote in local and national elections? And do you believe that voting is an effective way to bring about the changes you're advocating for?
Well, I must say that we are quite happy with the outcome of the recent election, which brought about what we call the Government of National Unity, because what it basically did was to punish those who have punished us for many years, who have ignored us, and actually came up with a new administration, new faces, new beginning, new hope. And we do not regret having taken the decision that we've taken in as far as voting was concerned. That is why today we were able to meet the ministers. We were able to be listened to. We were able to engage. You won't believe, almost 3 hours sitting with the Minister of Human Settlements, Umamo Simelane, meeting with Abahlali Basemjondolo, Minister of KZN, but also the MEC for KZN in KwaZulu-Natal, Umfundisi Ubuthelezi, but as well as the Deputy Mayor of eThekwini. So we're quite happy that we haven't had audience, but it is very disappointing, I must say, that in order to have audience with the elected officials, one needs to go into the streets. Why marches must become license for us to engage the government that we have voted into power? That is quite troubling. That the only license to engage your government is to engage into the street.
Now, Sbu, I mean, it's good to know that the conversations are going in the right direction. What specific actions will the government take to address the issues of land, of housing and job creation? And what timeline have they provided?
Well, we are quite pleased about the outcome of the meeting, and one of the resolution of the meeting yesterday was that, remember that Abahlali is a national movement, and of course the meeting yesterday.
All right, we seem to have lost Sbu. Zikode is the Abahlali Basemjondolo leader. Of course, just updating us on the outcomes of his meeting that took place yesterday with the ministers of KZN and Human Settlements after their march that took place in April on the 25th. So it seems we have Sbu back on the line. Sbu, we lost you for a second there. Welcome back.
Oh, yes. I was just saying part of the resolution of the meeting and the way forward yesterday was that Minister Simelane has acknowledged that the meeting yesterday had to accommodate Abahlali from Gauteng, from Mpumalanga province, and from the Eastern Cape. The minister has made a commitment to travel to Gauteng, Mpumalanga, and the Eastern Cape to have a similar meeting with Abahlali Day. But also the absence of the KwaZulu municipality, KZN MEC in KwaZulu-Natal has committed to bring KwaZulu municipality on board in a space of 2 weeks. And the eThekwini municipality mayor, deputy mayor, has also committed to hold a specific meeting that will discuss the details of the situations and the demands of Abahlali, because they are the agent that has to deliver basic services. But we were also happy that the long-term working relationship with both departments have been established. And we have also agreed that the Department of KZN in particular would consider empowering Abahlali as far as the disaster management is concerned, so that we can equip and empower our communities to be able to confront and deal with disaster issues without having to wait for somebody from city centers and so on, but also that they are going to invest in social facilitation and engage more with communities in South Africa. So we are hoping that, and of course, Minister Simelane has committed at least 1 billion rand in the upgrading of informal settlements, just in KwaZulu-Natal, to make sure that the issues that Abahlali Basemjondolo have raised yesterday are also committed in the municipality's business plan. And that was one thing that was quite interesting to say. She would make sure that in their business plan there are issues that Abahlali have raised that would be accommodated at least in this financial year.
And okay, that was going to be my next question. 1 billion by when? All right. And how do you plan to ensure that the government does follow through on its commitments?
Oh yes, Abahlali have systems in place, systems of accountability. Obviously, there are meetings that have been set already, and we are quite happy that Minister Tlhabisa has committed to monitor the fulfillment of all the commitments that have been made yesterday. So we will be reporting to Abahlali who have courageously brave and suffered for a very long time.
All right, we seem to have lost Sbu again, but I think we get the gist. We get the gist of the outcomes, and it looks like the conversations have gone extremely well. And I mean, these are the kind of news that we want to hear, certainly. That was Abahlali Basemjondolo leader, Sbu Zikode.